All right, YouTube, what we've got going on today is I've got these LED garage lights that I got on Amazon. I'm gonna go ahead and put those up in my garage here. So my plan is to kind of put them centered on the opener and have one side go one way and one side go the other way. That way it is kind of distributed across the garage over the two car opening space here. You can see all the junk that I've got in the garage. I plan on building a shed soon so I can get the lawnmower, gas cans, and some other stuff out of the garage. It's a little crammed at the moment, but I'm gonna address the lighting right now. The other stuff will happen another day. So the first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and get everything out of the box and see what's included. So we've got a bit of an instruction page here. We've got the connectors. Again, I'm gonna just go ahead and take these out and lay them out so that I can kind of inventory everything. I think I'm going to go ahead and start grouping things together as well. Got our wiring kit here. And these are the actual LED bars. So that's probably all that's left in the box, I think, at this point. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave those in there. Then I'm going to take a quick look at these instructions just to see what they say the first step is. Okay, so the instructions actually say the first step is to go ahead and assemble everything, then put it up on the ceiling to find out where you need to mark your holes. Put your anchors in where the holes are. They recommend at least 10 anchor points. And then the wiring, it looks like, is either a plug or a hardwire connection. I'm probably going to use the hardwire connection. I'm going to try to put wherever this is going to go. I'll figure that out ahead of time, but I'm going to try to put that right next to my light fixture so I can just put a hole in the drywall and run that up to the light fixture and hardwire it in to the actual light. So when I turn on my garage lights, everything turns on. So that's my plan. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing assembled. So one thing to pay attention to when it comes to the wiring is the connector that's going to go in there is going to go into one of the three-sided ones, as you can see here, not the two-sided one. So I was going to try to put the wiring right in the middle, which I will not be able to do with this design. So I'm going to have to put it out on one of these outer edges and then run the wire up to my junction box for my light. So just a heads up there, and I'll show you the connector right now. So as you can see here, the connector plug goes right into right here. Just slides right in, as you can see. And there are two different connectors. One is going to be hardwired like this one, and one will fit into a plug. So I'm going to run my wiring up into my attic. I'll just punch a little hole in my drywall, run it into the attic, run it over to this junction box here for this light, and then hardwire it in. But another option you could do if you don't want to do that is that the supplied cable with the plug on it, you can actually get a fixture like this that has a plug in the side of it. So you'd be able to plug it right in. I'll put the link in the description, and I'll also flash up a screenshot of what I'm talking about. So these are actually quite easy to assemble. As you can see, it's got the socket and the plug there. You just slide it right in. It looks like I'm gonna have to pull this plastic back a little. I'll wait to take it completely off until I have it on the ceiling. But it did say to make sure you push it past this little part right here in the instructions, so be aware of that. Push it in further than right there, making sure it's fully seated. But from there, that's it. So I'm gonna build the center section first, which is gonna require all of the three connectors in the center. And I think just for the sake of aesthetics, I'm going to put my anchor towards the inside here, so that way they're all the same. I just noticed that. So this is my final piece. And notice that I did leave this out here for my connection. And there's actually one extra of each one of these and one extra light bar here. So what I'm gonna do now, before I even try to pick this thing up and put it on the ceiling, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and plug these in using the plug that was supplied to make sure I don't have any issues with anything and see if one of these sections need to be changed out. All right, let's give this a test. And they appear to all be working, no issues. So the next thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and get on the ceiling and get this thing mapped out. Okay, so after a little bit of thinking and debate amongst myself, I thought about either making a template that I could take up and transfer to the ceiling, because I was like, I went to pick this up and I'm like, this thing is flimsy. There's no way I'm holding this thing up over my head while trying to mark the holes and all that. So what I decided I'm gonna do is put this thing up in sections. I'm gonna take this thing up there, this section here, because this is a lot more manageable in one section like this. And I'm gonna set it up to the ceiling, mark my holes, put my drywall anchors in there, and then mount this section. And then what I'm gonna do is split off this section and do the same thing with that, and then split off this section, do the same thing with that. So it's gonna take me a few times to get it up there, but I think that's the easiest and fastest way to do it, other than making a template. You could, of course, if you had a piece of paper or a piece of cardboard that big, mark it, then center punch your holes. That would probably be a pretty good idea as well, but I think I'm just gonna use this instead of taking the time to make a template. We'll see how that works out. So the other thing I went ahead and did was I wanted it to be centered between this light and the garage door opener. And I already went ahead and made marks where it needs to be. This section here is 32 inches wide right there. So I measured the distance between there, subtracted 32, divided it by 2, and that gave me the distance on each side. So I've gone ahead and marked that on the ceiling. I'm gonna go ahead and pick this thing up and mark where the holes need to go. So you can see where the problem's coming in. I need 2 hands to mark the holes, but I also need 2 hands to hold this. So this is where I'm gonna have to get my wife to assist, I think. I think what I'm gonna do is just have her take a broom and hold it up against here or something like that so that it holds it in position. So what I've got, guys, is I made a little holding tool. I'm having my wife come help me, and I'm marking my holes right now. My hole locations. All right, let it down. So I've got my hole locations marked. I'm gonna go ahead and put my drywall anchors into position. All right, so I do have a drill with a drill bit roughly the same size as the drywall anchor. So I'm gonna come up here and find my holes and go ahead and just drill a hole in the drywall. And that one has a joist, so I'll be using just the screw there. I'm gonna take my drywall anchors, except for the one that has the stud behind it. Just pop these into the drywall. And if you can't tell, I'm sweating my butt off. It's December here in Central Florida, and I'm still just dying in my garage. I feel like I'm not really exerting enough effort to be this sweaty. So that seems to have worked pretty well. I'm going to do that same process for the next 4 sections. Okay, so this is actually pretty stable if I have just a section like this. So I think I'm going to try to hook that up real quick. Yeah, just a 3 little section like this is actually not so wobbly as the other one. So I think I'll be able to put this in place and mark it. Mark my locations. Bring it back down very carefully. There we go. That way I may not need my wife to be out here sweating as well. Okay, so for the lighting, I wanted this to come on with the light when I turn the light switch on the garage. So this would be the connector if you want to do that. As you can see, once this is plugged in, I don't quite have enough wire to reach over to that junction. It would be really tight and difficult to use, but luckily, the inside of this is exactly like that. So what I'm going to do is cut this off, give myself some extra slack, and strip back my wire terminals so they're exposed. It's going to be white, black, and green, just like the other connector. So I've cut the end of that connector off, and just like I said, white, black, and green. but now I have a longer cable to hook this up with. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your power is off. You do not want to be messing around with this wiring if your power is on, so turn your power off, be safe. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is just drop my fixture down here. So I was hoping I would see wire nuts in here, but I do not. So I can see on here that the black is jumped together and the white is jumped together, so it doesn't really matter which one of these I make a connection on, either white or black. And we have a ground wire right here, so I can connect to the ground using a wire nut. But what I'm trying to do right now is kind of knock one of these knockouts out so that I can fish my wire through from my light fixture. That came out, but it came out with a bit of force. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and plug this in. And see where I can tuck that up into the wall. It looks like probably about right here is good. And it looks like I may have to get into the attic briefly, which my access door is right here, or yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna fish this wire up in there, get in the attic, and fish it into my box, because it's just right there. Probably be the easiest way to do it. So there we go. That's actually gonna look pretty clean once it's done. Make sure it's plugged all the way in, and you see that barely leaves anything exposed. So I'm going to jump in the attic and run that wire into the box real quick. Okay, you've got your wires fished through your box here. So I'm going to take one of the wire nuts that was supplied and connect that to my ground wire. And there are actually a couple of ways you can attach your white and your black. So if you had wire nuts in here, you could just undo the wire nuts, add the wire, put the wire nut back. Obviously, black would go to black, white to white, green to green. So since we don't have that in here, I think the next best way I could handle this would be to, actually I think what I'm going to do here is cut the wire, strip back both ends, stick in the other wire, and add a wire nut to it. Again, make sure your power is turned off before you mess with any of this stuff here. But yeah, if I just cut any one of these wires, so either white, it doesn't matter, they're both going to get power at the same time. Either black, same story, it does not matter which one because they're all connected together anyways. So I'm assuming the reason why there's double of each is because I have three light fixtures in the garage here. So when the switch comes on, it's got to jump from one to the other to the other. So each one of them, unless it's the last one in the series, probably has double wires on it. So that's what I think I'm gonna do is go ahead and cut here, strip those back, put a wire nut on there. All right, one more time. Make sure your power's off. It looks like this wire is the longest of the two whites, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut that one, strip it back. And you're inside of a junction box, so this is perfectly fine. So the wire you cut, put those two together, add your white wire for your light fixture. Get them all to where the ends are meeting up. And get your wire nut on there. Some people like to twist the wires together if that makes you more comfortable. Feel free to do it however you like. I usually just get them nice and tight with a wire nut until they start to twist naturally. And then give everything a little pull to make sure everything is in the wire nut securely. And then over to your black wire. Again, I think this one might be a hair longer than the other, so I'm going to use that one. Trying to keep my elbows out of the way. And again, get all 3 of your wires. I like to twist. So this is stranded wire coming from the light fixture. I like to give that a little bit of a twist so it's all nice and smooth before trying to bind this together. And then get everything up inside the wire nut again. Everything at the same length. Like that. And then get your wire nut on there. That way the wire nut gets a chance to grip all 3 of the wires nice and tight. Alright, so after you've got it on there, give it a little pull. If everything is secure, go ahead and stuff everything back up inside your junction box here. And you should be good to go. All right then, so after, I don't know, it's probably been about an hour and a half making my YouTube video, having my wife helping everything. This is what it looks like on the garage ceiling. It looks pretty good. And let's go ahead and give it the test. I'm gonna go ahead and flick my light switch on. It should illuminate all sections of the light. Drum roll, please. Oh, nothing. What the hell happened? I don't even have my normal garage lights on. Okay, so since this didn't work the first time and I had to go back and troubleshoot it, I figured I'd include you guys in the troubleshooting process. So what happened was when I flipped my breaker, flipped my switch to turn this on, it did not turn on. I was trying to figure out why and see if I had something shorted up in there. I didn't see anything obvious, but what I did see was that my GFCI on the wall right here tripped for some reason. So let's try this now and see if that GFCI flips again. And no, of course, everything's perfect. I don't know why it tripped the first time I tried to turn it on, but this is the result, guys. Lots of light in the garage. Everything is looking good. I'll show you from a different angle so you guys can see it a little better. So this is from the other side of the garage. As you can see, it's projecting quite a bit of light down. I do need to clean the garage up a little bit, but I think you guys get the idea. This came out looking pretty good and generates quite a bit of light for the garage, so I am happy. All I need to do is put my light fixture back. So guys, if this helped you out with your installation and making a decision, make sure that you hit the like button down there. Check out the rest of my channel. I have 500 other videos on how to do stuff around the house, with the cars, lots of other things, guys. So check it out, please. And thank you very much for watching YouTube. Everyone, if you enjoyed today's video, I would invite you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below right there in the right-hand corner. And if you felt that the products in today's video is something you might like to own yourself, there's a product link right up there to the right, upper right-hand corner, or down in the description will be a product link for you to purchase the product as well. Thank you very much for watching YouTube.